Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue. Live your life, love Christ, do your best to
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue.
Speak life.
Death and life in the power of the tongue. Live your life, love Christ, do your best to
Speak life.
Hello and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Speak Life podcast. We are excited to have you with us for another wonderful week. I am your host, Minister Phoenix, alongside my beautiful wife and amazing co-host.
Hi guys, welcome to the Speak Life podcast. This is your co-host, the one and only Shika. We are so excited to have you here today for this amazing topic.
And if you notice, we got some guests with us today. We ain't flying solo today. We got some guests. So I'm just going to let them introduce themselves. Introduce yourself to the world, lady.
Hello, I'm Ashaki. I go to Franklin Pierce University and I am in my junior year of college.
Hey, Shaki.
Hey, Shaki. Hi, everyone. My name is Malika. I am a sophomore at a Jesuit institution in the Boston area, and I study sociology.
Hey, Malika.
Hi.
Awesome. We're so excited to have these two amazing young people with us. I love these girls. Yes, I love these girls. They're like a little sister to me. Like, I adore them.
All right, so shout out to our listeners. You're getting too happy. Calm down. Shout out to our listeners, our subscribers, all the people who rock with us week after week. We appreciate y'all. You know, if this is your first time, hit that like button. Subscribe. Comment to be a part of the conversation. And today we are going to jump into it. I'm excited about this topic. I feel like we've been on a lot of real hard black topics lately, but this one's going to be really good. And today we're just going to talk about life as a black woman in college. And I could have easily left the one and only to host this episode, but I want it to be Dan. I ain't gonna lie. I wanted to be a part of this because I feel like there's a lot of gems that we're about to get from these two young women. So tune in, strap in, hold on, and enjoy the ride. All right, y'all ready? All right, so let's just jump into it. I'll just start off the conversation with this because this one's a hard one, and I think about just being a youth pastor for the years that we've been doing it, and one of the things I used to always see from the young people was, I can't wait to get to college so I can get away from my parents and just have some freedom. I want to breathe. I want to be free. So now y'all are in college. Y'all are living the life. Y'all are the future. Y'all are going through it. So this is my question. How do you balance that college life? Because my imagination of how college life looks when you're living on campus is a lot different than what my college experience was. So how do you balance that college life and still hold on to that those Christian morals? Because I imagine it can get real hard.
Who want to go first?
Y'all can rock, paper, scissors if you want.
I mean, I don't know. For me, it's definitely a challenge to balance college life and Christianity. I'm still struggling with it, but I'm finding my way technically still. So it's definitely hard for me, at least.
I would agree. I feel like you never really find that balance, but whatever comes along the way and it works. So, I mean, I go to a Jesuit school, so it's not that hard to find things and organizations and clubs that I can go to. But at the same time, it's a little bit I want to have fun. I want to do things that I want to do in church. I want to do things that I want to do at home. And so I think that the balance comes in where you just have to find people that rock with Jesus as well. And then it will be that balanced life. But like Ashaki said, I think that it's difficult and you never truly find that balance, but whatever works for you works for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we're getting some feedback. I'm not sure.
So what's your go-to? Because I feel like everyone has a go-to in which they know, like, I need to get closer to God. Like, this is what I do. Like, one of my go-tos has always been music. You know, I'll pop in some like praise music, and if I'm feeling away, I'm like, shit, the tunes just like draw me up. I'm like, that's Jesus. But it's like, when you're in college, like, how do you, like, what's your go-to in that situation? Like, so you may not have someone who's always around to, like, really talk you off of that ledge and be like, you probably shouldn't do that, you know? And I imagine those little angels on your shoulder kind of get a little quieter when you don't have everyone around to help you out. So, like, what are some of the go-tos that you know work for you in those situations?
I definitely listen to music. Like, I seclude myself. I'll probably go in my car, do some, praise worship, like, praise music or whatever. Or like if I'm going through like a tough, rough patch, I always text Sheikah because like she's my to-go-to person. So yeah, that's what really helps me, to be honest.
Yeah, this is so. I can I just say something? It's
your show. You can say whatever you want.
No, I know. I just didn't want to cut anyone off. So I know for me, I didn't go. I went to college, but I didn't stay on campus. And for me, it looked a little differently because when I went to college, I didn't leave straight out of high school and just go straight into college. It was more like, oh, I'm gonna get married. Then I'm gonna try to do school, so it's gonna be part-time. So it was like here and there, going to a community college and taking like 2-3 classes at a time, and then being pregnant, going to school, and so it's like that's how I did. So I don't know that college life. I don't know what that feels like. I don't know what that looks like, staying on campus, going to classes, being responsible enough to make sure you get up and you get your stuff done, go to classes, don't party too much because you have to go back to class, like stuff like that. So I don't know what that is. So this is going to help me to kind of understand that whole college feel, like what it's like. So this is
outside of what we see in movies.
Yes. What was the question?
What's your go-to? What's your fall when you're having those moments? What's that thing you fall back on to get you to refocus yourself, basically?
Yes. Music has always been central in my life as well as everybody else has had. So definitely just like having that playlist on Spotify and just playing it while I'm in the shower, singing to myself. I told my roommate as soon as I got here, I was like, I like to sing. And if I sing in the shower, don't mind me. I will not sing anywhere else, but I'll sing in the shower. And if it's praise and worship, it's praise and worship. But it's either music or it's just friends that I know, growing up in a Caribbean home. So they also have that Christian influence. So I would go to them and be like, girl or boy or whatever the case may be, and just talk to them about stuff when it comes to Christianity. But yeah, I think that go-to is just like music and people.
Nice.
That's good. That's always good to have that, balance where you could have someone that you could go to, because oh gosh, you drive yourself crazy.
All right, now this one's a good one because I thought about this, and there's a lot of pieces that's going to go along with this next part. So just bear with me, right? So Malcolm X, amazing gentleman, and I feel like it's Black History Month, and we've been tailoring a lot of content, and it's always you always see the dynamics of race pop up because this is what we live through. But it's not exclusively Black content, but a lot of Black content pops up.
Yeah.
Now, Malcolm X had this quote, and this was a very, very profound quote. He said, the most disrespected person in America is the Black woman. The most unprotected person in America is the Black woman. The most neglected person in America is the Black woman. My question is, how do the dynamics of being a woman of color come into play with some of the things that you see in college? I could easily just simply say being a woman that brings on a whole nother dynamic that we're going to jump into. But just being a woman of color and some of the things that you see, some of the things that you experience, how do you see those dynamics kind of play out in even some of the courses and the content, professors interacting with professors and peers, as you're in school, and, with how long you've been in school, like what are some of the things that you see, and how do those dynamics like play out in some of those interactions?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't want to talk too much because I don't want to talk your ears off. But the thing is, it's
no. Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
It is.
Educate us, please.
It is a challenge, to say the least, because I go to predominantly white school. And so that also has its own issues within itself. However, I went to predominantly white schools growing up. So it was like, oh, I can do this. Like, what? Just a couple more. Like, I got this. But coming here, it was like thousands of people that don't look like you. And that's fine. I never had an issue with being around racial diversity. However, the school that I go to, it's like you can feel the tension. So going here and being a woman of color, in class, your professor may not take you seriously. And you may have the same exact answer as Joe. And Joe gets an A and you get a B minus. And so that is very difficult because I'm not only fighting for, my approval just to even be here, but I'm also trying to be myself and, trying to tell other people, be yourself, don't worry about what they're doing. But then it's like, you have to constantly fight that battle of like, okay, are they going to take me serious? First as a woman, then as a woman of color. And so that comes up. And then, just interactions on a daily, like there was just a recent hate crime at my school, where 2 freshman males threw down trash bins in the floor that houses predominantly women of color. And they yelled and said, is this where the colored people live? Is this da-da-da? And they've been harassing them ever since September of last year around the election time. And so things like that come up and we're just meant to go back to our schoolwork. We got midterms coming up. We got this going on. We have to be in clubs. You have to do jobs. And there's this social expectation that everything just goes as normal because this is just what happens, and they don't take into factor how that could really, mess up your mental a little bit and take a toll on, what you're doing in school and your academic performance. So it's difficult. However, what I do say to freshmen or just even high school students looking into going to college is like, we deserve to be here. We're not just here for just no reason. We are here because it's God. God put us here. Even if we may not like it and we may not know why we're here sometimes, I always tell them like, you deserve the exact same chance as Joe or Mary did, paying their bills to come here. So
I just say that again for the people in the back when they might be asleep. So you gotta wake them up with that one. That right there is gold.
Yeah, it's true because they just expect that that they're just gonna kick you out. Like, no, I paid to go here. So it's difficult, but I think that I'm not the only one. Shaki's not the only one that's done it. There's people done it in years ago that have paved the way for us to even be here. And we're going to pave the way for the rest of the generation to be here. So it's like, we're not the only ones doing this. However, sometimes you forget that like, I know I'm here for a reason, but what is that reason? But yeah, those are my 2 cents.
Wow. This is powerful. This is so powerful because I've never experienced that as far as being in college. So it's but like how do you, like, you mentioned something like when Joe, could have the same answer, same question, like you answer it the same exact way, but yet they get an A and you get a B. Like, how does that make you feel? Like, how do you react to stuff like that? Like I understand you said, okay, you just go on, like, okay, I deserve to be here, so I'm gonna be. But how does that really make you feel?
Overlooked. Like, I don't know. It's like I had the same similar thing where me and my friend would help each other with, our homeworks, but the way we word things, it's differently. So she worded hers another way, I did mine the other way, but she got a higher grade than me, and I was confused. I'm like, how? And I went to my teacher about it because, like, I'm confused, but it's not to that teacher's standards or whatever. So I just let it go because I'm just like, it's whatever.
Wow.
Yeah, it does suck, but
yeah.
What can
you feel overlooked, just exactly like what she said. You just feel like, are my efforts ever enough? Because I may go to an office hour, or I may go to meet with my professor 3 times a week just to get the same grade my classmate got and did none of those things, And so they say that, like, oh, like, class is free, like, we're going to treat everyone the same, but it's not true. It's not true. And they may not do it intentionally. However, it happens. So yeah, like Shaki said, like, you just feel overlooked. You feel like your efforts are not enough. And like wording, like you said, it's like, I can say the cat is yellow, but somebody can say the cat is also brown and green and purple, and they're like, wow, this is great.
like
extra things. Exactly. Just answering the question, get to it.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it's
but is there a place for you guys to go, though, to voice your concerns, as far as like, oh, I'm in this class and I'm seeing, this is what I'm seeing? Is there somewhere to go, or someone to go to do that? And when you do that, is there a solution? Like, what happened after?
Not that I know of, but like, I don't know if anything would get done. Usually stuff doesn't get done. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah. We're told to go to our dean if we have any issues, the president. My president doesn't really do anything. However, it's usually like the student body that changes. And that sounds so cliche, but it truly is us that are the ones that are like, that we can confide in and that we can actually go to. I'm in a club called Faces, and we are an anti-racism club, and we work around campus and do all that jazz. However, it's like, if we were to go to administration or go to the dean of our specific college or section in college, they would say, okay, that's cool, that's cute, let's talk about it, let's do this, let's do that, but nothing really ever happens, not to my knowledge, at least. So yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, nothing is gonna happen, so guys, just let's move on, just let's keep pushing, because that's how I would feel. Wow.
That really, that's crazy, because I just think of like some of the experiences that I had when I was in college, where you could find yourself in a classroom and there's maybe 1 or 2 people that look like you, and then in class discussions, it's like, they're like, so how do you feel about this? And when they're saying that, you know exactly what they're expecting you to speak off of, as if your opinions aren't your own, but like, all right, I'm going to say I feel like this, and this speaks for, everyone that looks like me. And it's like, I can only imagine how it is when you're actually on campus in these scenarios, where you see things like this play out, so just keep it up. Just really, really just keep it up, and just keep pushing, and just keep speaking your truth. I think I cut you off. You were about to say something.
No, I was gonna say, I think it also depends maybe on the college that you go to, as well, because for me, I find like I went to Cambridge College for my undergrad, and it's more so for working adults because, like I said, I didn't leave high school and go straight to college. I'm gonna work, I'm gonna have kids, married, we're gonna do all this, and then I'm gonna go to college. So it's for working adults where it's very diverse. And I've had professors who they're white, but they just act so black. Like when I say act black, like they don't they're very down to earth. They're very they understand Black people. Like at least they make it seem like it because they tell you from the beginning, like, or I grew up in Roxbury, so it's kind of like they're telling you, like, I know what it is. I'm used to it. I have a lot of friends of color, and so I don't feel that when they talk or when I answer, like my hands is always like up. Now we're in on Zoom, so my virtual hand is always up. So but when I talk and when they ask questions and I answer, I don't feel like it's not validated or anything like that. So I think it depends on the college that you're going to.
That is an amazing point. And what makes that point so absolutely fantastic is, the fact that it really does matter what college you go to. Because if you have a bigger school, you can have students coming from all over the country and they could only really witness or understand or encounter someone from another race from things that they see on TV, from stereotypes. There are still towns in America that are primarily all white, where you don't have a lot of representation in these places. So then they're coming in contact with people of color for the first time, and all they're working off of is these stereotypes that they see perpetuated through TV and things like that. I want to stick on this woman in college theme, and this comes to the next point that I wanted to ask you. We talked about the dynamics of being a Black woman and how that comes into play when it comes into the classroom, or I don't even know if it's considered a classroom when you're in college, but in academics, I'll say in academics. Now, when it comes to that same aspect, because I imagine it is very different navigating the world from the perspective of a woman than it is a man. There's a lot more things that you have to worry about. Guys, there's a lot of guys out there who are trash, who are absolutely out of their mind, crazy individuals. And I'm just keeping it real. There's a lot of things that we don't have to worry about that y'all have to worry about. So even in the aspect of socializing and being able to go to parties or we'll just call them gatherings, socials.
No, they're parties.
We'll call them socials because I have this. No, seriously. And this is the thing. Like I know both of your families. I know both of your dads, and I've just recently become the dad of a one day going to be an amazing Black woman. Now, as a father, your biggest fear is that at least for me, my biggest fear is that one day my daughter is going to encounter a trash dude who's not going to respect her no, who's not going to respect her I'm good, and this could go for any woman, and I say this all the time, like I believe, and this is my opinion, and my opinion only, this is not reflect anyone else's opinion. I believe that at a certain age, all women should be armed because dudes are crazy. There are some crazy individuals out there, and women, especially Black women, should be able to protect themselves. You are not going to see on TV where you have very rarely, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but very rarely that you're seeing a dude assault his girlfriend, his wife, his baby mother, whatever the case may be, for something. You're not seeing a woman do that to a man, but these are things that women have to worry about. Women have to worry about giving the dude a fake number because they're probably going to stop him. Women have to worry about going out late at night. And
don't forget the fake name. The fake name.
That's what I'm saying. Why does it, like, how do you navigate that situation when you're in school and being on campus?
Maybe just walking by yourself. Yeah.
Let's say you're coming from the library late at night and studying.
You're studying.
the library because you were studying with some friends, you know, and went out for a bite to eat afterwards that just may or may not have happened to have, you know, some beverages, you know? There's certain things that y'all have to worry about. Like, how does that come into play in the college life when with everything else y'all got going on? Like,
wow.
I'm just putting it out there.
Go ahead. I see you moving your fingers. Go ahead, Ashaki. You want to tackle this?
I don't even know what
and keep it real, you know, like keep it real.
I don't even know what to say. Come back to me. Malika, go.
Okay.
And I can give you a little backstory on where this came from, because this is a very real issue for me, because I seen this meme online where there was this girl who this young lady who was talking about giving a guy a fake name and a fake number, you know, because it was late, he was trying to holler, she didn't want it, like, and she don't want the sketchy dude to like murder her in like an alley. So she's like, you know, you can sign up for a number on Google and then you call your phone and it's like, yo, why does it even have to be all that? Why can't the no just be no and fellas just keep it pushing? You know, so it's like being a young woman in school and having to navigate these things. How do you deal with that? Like, little backstory to help you out.
Okay. I guess my first answer is you can never win. Let me explain. Let's go back to that scenario that you just said. The woman comes up with a fake name, fake number. So there's one side to this where it's like, why the heck would you do all of that? You could just give her the name, real number, and things like that. The other side is protection. Like, you don't want to give the real name or the real number because you don't feel like, you know, that the person might do something to you later or whatever the case may be. When it comes to perspective now, I've heard a lot of conversations with young males at my college, and it's either Shia blank, you know, I think we can all fill in that blank.
Yeah.
Or she's a prude. And so those are the two choices you have. Two choices you have as a young woman on campus. Even if you identify as one, those are the two choices you have. And so obviously, if you want to be yourself and you want to say no, then you're going to be the second option. And for you, it's like, okay, like, why should I care about what other people think? But then it's like, oh, she hates men, or she does this or she does that. And then on the other side, if you say yes, or you give your number to everybody, you're the other option. And then it's like, the reason why I said you can never win is because those are the only options you have. There's no in between. There is no picking, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, as a young woman, I can only speak for myself, but as a young woman, I find it hard because if I say no, right, which in many cases it's no, but if I say no, that's just that Christian girl. She don't like to have fun. She don't, and it's that rah. But if I were to say yes, well, wasn't she just a Christian the other day? Wasn't she saying that she's in this organization? Wasn't she saying that she was repping? And it's too much. it's too much to say the least. So to that, it's hard to navigate. However, I think it's just like, you're gonna find your people, however, you know, long it takes you, but you're gonna find your people that accept you for who you are, because at the end of the day, you have to just be you. You have to rock you no matter what anybody thinks. So there's going to be people that rock with that and that rock with your energy. And if they don't, you're going to get that rah. You are. And especially going back to the blackness of it all, you know, because I hate to go here, but because we are a minority, we have to find something to judge as well. Because we're the ones being oppressed, that in our own community, we have to oppress each other. And so that's when we get that rah. And that's when we get, oh, she's like this or she's like that. And that's when we get all that little talking in the back of our ears. But that's a whole nother conversation to go on. But what I'm really trying to get at is that, like, it's for you, Brother Pritchard, it's going to be difficult because your daughter, and for you, Sister Chika, your daughter is going to encounter these males and even females. Let's be real here. Even females. She's going to encounter anyone. And it's like, you kind of have to go through it. It sucks to say, you can't run away. And so, like, teach her to be herself no matter what, but also, like, be aware that there are going to be some creeps, males and females, okay? Yeah. And that's just how life works. But yeah.
So just a follow-up question on this. Like, so when you have like a male or a female approach you and you're like, okay, I don't want to give you my name, I don't want to give you my number, I'm not into you, I don't even find you attractive, like, and they keep coming at you or pushing, like, what do you do? What do you do in that situation?
If they don't take my first no respectfully, then I don't know what to do. I honestly don't. Like, I'll probably just ignore them and walk away and get out of there, but I don't know.
Do you ever find yourself like give in because you're scared or you're like worried or you're like, oh my gosh, I don't really know, just here?
No, I don't ever give in. Like, no.
I do.
I'm usually with people, so like my people are always like, you know, the ones to like, if they don't respect my no the first time, then I have my friends to like venture off with. But other than that, no, I don't ever give in, because if I said no, it's a no.
Okay, go ahead, Melita.
Yeah, so I would love to say I say no all the time and I don't give in, but I do, because there's this other part of me where I'm just like, well, life, you know, like,
I really try it out.
You know,
no, it's true.
But
it's true.
That may not be always the safest thing, but like, say this guy or I think is attractive, you know, they approach me and I'm like, okay, let me say, you know, but then I'm gonna give him my number, you know what I'm saying, you know, but if, you know, after that process, then I'm like, I don't really know, because if they start talking to me weird, or if it's the case where they're like, let's do this, and very, very persistent or very pushy, I'm like, okay, this gotta stop. this has to stop. Mm-hmm. Other than that, yeah, I mean, let's say I'm at a gathering. Okay, I'm at a gathering, and which I don't really go to gatherings like that, but if I'm at a gathering and someone comes up to me, I would just have a conversation, and then that's that. If it ends up with more than that, like logistics in terms of numbers and Snapchats or whatever, then it ends up more than that. But I just say, like, let's be friends. Okay, let's just be friends. Let's skip all that other stuff right now, but let's just be friends for a little bit. And then if anything else happens, then we can talk about that later. But let's just start off as friends.
As friends, yeah. Jackie, you sound like you want to say something.
People, just for the record, this is all pre-COVID scenarios.
Exactly, pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID scenario. Shock, you seem like you had something you wanted to put in there.
No, I was just laughing.
Oh.
Yeah, but you know what though? I mean, I could talk. I can't really talk about like college, but I could talk from like even being in high school, where, you know, because when I was in college, I already found my husband. So So it's like I didn't really get to experience that. But in high school, I could understand what Malika is saying, because sometimes they're just like guys will just approach you and it's like they won't take no for an answer. You're like, okay. And you know, and I mean, we're women, we're girls. So for us, it's kind of like, oh, he's cute, or oh, I like that style about him. And so you're like, let me see where this could possibly go. And then you're like, okay, here's my number. My name is this or whatever. And I'm always like, you know, I'm always smiling. So I think my smile kind of lead them on sometimes to make them think like, okay, I really like them, because I'm like, I smile with everybody.
Bro.
So I think sometimes we kind of give that mixed message as to what we really do want, because it's like, well, you're smiling, but you're saying no, but you're like, no, right. And you're smiling. So it's like, wait, is it really no? Or is it like, I'm just saying no because I don't want to say yes too quick? You know, so I feel like that's so they get it in their head, you know? So.
Nah, some dudes just don't know how to take no's. And
you're right. But I feel like sometimes we as females kind of like give mixed messages.
But here's the thing, and this is you know, thank God for Jesus. But fellas have to get to a point where no is enough, and that's what we don't see. The fact that, you know, you can and then they just like, but no, brother, no. A no is a no. It's kind of like your parents when you were little and you wanted to eat ice cream before dinner. They're like, no. And that was it. There was no rebuttal. There was no but and no follow-up. I understand. Sometimes taking rejection is hard. However, you got to get to a point where no is just no. And that's enough. There doesn't need to be a follow-up. No needs to be enough with no explanation. And it just needs to be like that. And that's just my opinion. Once again, that is my opinion, but I think that's a pretty good opinion. No needs to be enough. Now with that, I like how you brought the point of there's no in between. There's no gray area. It's either this or it's this. And that brings me to this next point of stereotypes. Now when it comes, this is Black women have this ridiculous stereotype. I don't know where they got it from, but they always have this stereotype. It's probably because it was a Black man who probably came up with it. He's probably doing something stupid, made the woman mad, and was like, Black women are angry. If you give a woman, any woman, it don't got to be a Black woman, it can be any woman. You give a woman a reason to be upset, she's going to be mad.
Of course.
So with this, how does like stereotypes like this like come into play like in that like arena as far as college is concerned? This could just be light, because it doesn't necessarily, but y'all are at an age where you're really solidifying how you want to see your adult life. That is why you're going through college. That is why you're trying to better yourself, because you have this road that you're trying to travel down, because you have this end goal in mind that you're trying to get to. So it's like, how do, you know, these negative stereotypes kind of play out in that college arena when, you know, you're trying to, you know, establish yourself, you're trying to figure out, you know, how you want to see your life, and, you know, how you want to build your image as far as your image in college and things like that. How do you see those stereotypes playing out in college life? Diary of a Mad Black Woman, man. I'm telling you, it had to be a dude who came up with it. And I'm not bashing the fellas, because I'm a male, and I love y'all, but we gotta do better, fellas. We gotta do better. Seriously. Speak to it. I got three women. I got one over here, one right there, and one right there. Speak to it.
But you know what I think though? It's funny because I had a conversation with a friend of mine who is a Black man, and he dated a white woman, right? I asked, you know, we were really cool, and we were sitting down one day, and I was just like curious, because I'm always wondering, like, what is it? Not that, you know,
You're a blunt individual too, because you be.
I am. When it comes, I am. So I said to him, I'm like, and we're that cool where we could have this kind of conversation. I said to him, I understand, like, he's a very handsome, young Black man, and I'm like, you can't find any Black woman to date. And I asked because I was curious. And you know what he said to me? He said,
I love that lady, but she's blunt.
He said to me, the reason why I date white women is because when Black women get into an argument, they are like on top of their voice. They're ready to cut you. They're ready to like chew you apart. He's like, white women, they quiet, they talk soft, and honestly, it's not it, because I'm like, no, not every white woman is quiet. Not every. I'm like, don't say that, and I'm like, not every. I'm like, and I told him, I said, look at me. I said, I'm not ready to cut nobody. I'm not, and he's like, well, there's not much where I come from, and he's like, I look at Black women where I come from, and I'm like, and this is what he said. He's like, they're like that those thug guys, and also what he said, he was like, when I was coming up, they wasn't looking at me because I was too quiet. They wanted those thug guys, those guys who were on the street selling, drugs or doing this or doing that. They didn't look at me. And he's like, the white women are the one who looked at me. And that's how I started dating, because the Black women, they want someone who's gonna treat them like what they don't deserve to be treated like. And I was kind of like, you know what? And I look into it and I'm like, growing up, we're keeping it real. Growing up, when I was growing up, like I am attracted to the guys who are like that, we call that, those thug kind of looking guys. Like, I don't know why. The ones who are quiet and they're kind of like, I'm like, okay, go somewhere. Like, I'm not attracted to those kind of guys. And I never understand why. Understand why. And I'm like, and then coming here, I'm like, okay, I'm a Christian, I'm going to church, I'm so nice, I'm soft spoken, I'm like, but I'm like, why? Like, it's like, I'm like, if I look at a guy who is kind of act the way I act, who's quiet, who is kind of like soft spoken or nice or just look right, you're like, wow, yes, you look fine. I'm kind of like, no, they're not my type. Like, I'm looking for the kind of ones who like, yeah, like I look rough. Yeah,
I got a little
I'm
bass
going
in
through
their throat.
something.
Yeah, I don't want to walk over my guy, Yeah.
Like, I never understand it. I never understood it. Like, why I always only attracted to guys who look a certain way, act a certain way. The ones who are like in church, no, you're not my type. You're not my type. The ones who are out there in the street, yeah, you're my type. No, I'm keeping it real. Why is that? I never understand that.
It's her show. I can't think of it. I'm just joking.
Oh, good question. I don't even know.
Yeah. Do you guys understand where I'm coming from? Yeah, I don't know. You guys go through that. I don't know.
I feel like it has to, I don't know, probably my friends have something to do with that. Like your surroundings, like you're just so used to it, and
Yeah. I would say, I feel like there's always, whatever kind of Black you are, I feel like there's always one definition of being Black. Okay. And there's one definition of being a Black male, and there's one definition of being a Black woman. A Black male has to be rigid and has to be tough and has to always provide and has to that's the male definition as well. But a Black male has to be hyper masculine and always have to do all of that stuff. For the Black woman, we have to be strong for our kids. We have to be strong for our husbands. We have to be strong for everybody else, for ourselves. We have to do this. And then with that, say if we get mad once, all hell breaks loose. All hell breaks loose because we have emotions and we're humans. I'm sorry, but that's how it works. So when there's any outlier outside of that, where you're not Black or you're not Black enough. So let's go back to okay, I was a theater kid, right? I was a theater kid. I'm very dramatic. I love theater. I love singing. I love things like that. And then, hang around with my Black friends and they'd be like, why do you like that? And then, it was always about what shoes you're wearing, what clothes you have on, and I'm like, what? And that just speaks to, I don't blame my Black brothers and sisters, but that just speaks to most of the areas that we were raised in. You know what I'm saying? Where it goes back to the point where I said earlier, we need someone to judge. Everybody needs someone to judge. And it happens to just be our own brothers and sisters who look like us. So when it goes back to, you know, Sheikah's point of like, why don't I like, you know, those types of guys? For the guy, you know, I always worried about this growing up, but I was like in my school, none of the Black guys like me. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, why don't they ever like me? Because I had that one bad encounter with a black female at the time. Yeah,
and they judge the whole.
Yeah, they judge the whole. But that's what we do too. We have this one thing, and we're like, nope, I'm done. They're all trash.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Put
true.
them all away. So it's like,
it's so bad. Like, why do guys do that? Like now, Kenny, why do guys do that?
She's like,
now it's bothering me.
No, guys do that because it's this whole, I'm sorry, I can't speak for guys, but what I think is that it's more of like an ego thing. So for example, if we were to say no, then that's coming at their masculinity, that's coming at their ego. For a white woman, if they were to say yes, then they feel secure. Well, this is what I think, that they feel secure. They feel secure in that. And when anything comes in between that, it's like a battle against my masculinity, about you're coming at my ego. And that's not necessarily what we're trying to do. We're just saying no. But for them, it's like, you know what? I'm going to go and seek that. And in many cases, it happens to be, you know, other races. And so that's what I learned, you know, just over the years, just like observing that, because I observe a lot. And so I'm like, that makes sense. And for me, you know, it was always like, we all have our own perceptions of who else should, you know, who we should all be. So for a Black male to come and talk to me, they're like, well, you're too white, or you like too many things that aren't Black. And so I'm like, okay, so now let me go to white people because y'all don't accept me, so let me go. But that also becomes an issue. So it's a cyclical process. It's always cyclical, because it's like we always think that the other person should be this way, and when they don't live up to that, we're like, well, they're not that, they're not Black, or they're not white, or they're not this. And so that's my little
dropping gems over here. If y'all ain't taking notes, someone needs to have it open up right now.
No, that is so true. That is so true. Because like for me, I know that I'm such a closed-minded individual when it comes to like dating outside of my race. And so I've never dated a white person, but I don't know if I had dated a white person, I would have never known the experience I would have had, because I've never done it. And, you know, people are people in general. Guys are guys in general. You have Black guys who are like nice or ridiculous. You have white guys who are very nice or ridiculous. So, you know, you can't really judge by the race. But for someone who I've never gone that side before, so I don't know. You know, I can only speak for what I've tried. Said tried.
I'm getting so much insight in this episode. I already have another follow-up episode for this episode.
Wait, I think Shaq and Malika has something I didn't want to say.
Sorry. Y'all got me excited with this. This is serious. I like this. I hope someone's really taking notes though, because there's some serious knowledge coming out in this episode. Bring it out. Continue. Sorry.
Oh,
cut y'all off.
Jackie, you want to say something?
Oh no, you were talking.
Oh, my bad. No, I'm very like pro. If you can't tell, I'm very like pro Black as well. But it's like I never had that preference growing up. You know, when I become married, hopefully one day, that
you will.
You will.
I'm speaking into yeah. You know, my kids will be Black no matter what, because I'm Black. But you know, it's hard. I have no preference. However, I never understood like why the heck, you know, the guys in my school will always go to the white girls, or the Black guys at my school always go to the white girls, and then when we would go outside of our race, then it'll be an issue. I'm like, okay, you know? So you never knock until you try, but at the same time, it's like there's always just this misunderstanding of like just who we are as humans. Like no matter, you strip away the race and all of that, it's just this lack of communication of like, who even are you, you know, and can I learn from you? Can I grow with you? And with that, it comes challenges because we live in such a racially targeted area. America, as it stands, is based on oppression. So it's like we don't know, or it's harder for us to just kind of just like take everyone as a human rather than like, you know, doing always the racial stuff. But I always do the racial stuff because I'm also black. But at the same time, it's just like where we grow up. So let's say if I were to grow up in not Tanzania, Singapore. I say Singapore, where race is not as big of an issue. It's more of like nationality. Like if you're born there, then you are, you know. But here it's like, if you're not born here, you're not American. Or if you, and the standard is white. So America is white, which I don't understand because we're all immigrants. That's another topic. But America is white. Africa as a continent is black. So it's like human race. Human race. You could go and talk about it for ages. But yeah.
Jump in, Shaki.
There was a lot. There was a lot in there.
It's a lot.
I got a lot out of that. All right, Shaki, you had something? I want cut anyone off. I want everyone to be able to speak their truth. All right. So this is, and I'll close with this one. This is a good one. You know, we have generations of young people coming up, preparing to go to school, preparing to go to college. Young people in church who are like, yes, only a year or two, or next year I'm out, and my parents can't do anything about it because I'm going away to school. If you were to give them some sort of advice of how to be able to navigate this whole college thing and some of the dynamics and some of the challenges that y'all face as you're coming through and some of the things that you've seen as you're, navigating this college space, what would you say to them to like, just to help them to be able to get through it? Give them some gems. Give them some advice. All right, to make sure you get your work done. Something else.
Are you talking about academically or like as a?
I think in general.
Anything that you think that they would need in order to be able to navigate that college thing.
Okay. What I'm learning right now is I'm practicing how to love myself. And I think that we say that, but we don't, I shouldn't say we, but a lot of people say that, but don't actually mean it. And so the reason why I say practice how to love yourself and nurture yourself, because if there's no foundation in you, you cannot exert that love for everybody else. And so I'm learning how to love myself on a deeper level so that I can be able to engage with others, make friends, and, go to that office hour with that professor, go to those social gatherings, because it gets hard in college. It gets hard because you're constantly faced with like homework and, trying to balance, like, if you're not in 10 clubs, you're not doing it right. If you're not getting all A's, you're not doing it right. And so I'm like, all I would say is like, practice just loving yourself and taking that time, whatever that means for you, and being yourself, because when you love yourself, then you can fully be yourself. But loving yourself, and also just like take a breath, because it's overwhelming. Life is overwhelming in general, but like take a breath, because if you do not take a breath, you're just going to run yourself dry. and you're not gonna have what's the term that like you're not gonna be able to like fill your cup anymore, or whatever the case is. Like you will be running dry all the time. So take a breath, love yourself, be yourself. Yeah, that's the little advice I have.
Yeah, self-care is very important. Very important. Shaq, what advice would you give?
Give us some gems. Give us some gems.
Oh man, I don't. Can you repeat the question one more time?
Someone who's preparing to go to school advice on how to navigate that college experience based off of things that you've seen, things that you've had to deal with, challenges that you face. What would you tell them? What would you give them? What would you encourage them in?
Based on like your experience.
Shaki's guide to surviving college.
I just surround myself with good people. So if I'm surrounded by good people, like I'm on the right track for me. Like my roommates keep me on the right track, so I'm good. So I would say just meet great people and stay focused, keep your head where it's at. Don't venture off. Well, sometimes you might, but come back. But surround yourself with good people. That's what I would say.
Yeah. And what is good, like, because not everyone know what good people is. Good people could just be like, oh, well, hey, you ride with me, you like me. Like, what is good people?
Yeah, because for a large part of my life, I had a really wrong idea of what good people were. So please tell us what good people are, in your opinion, just in your opinion.
I don't know. Like my roommates are just like me, so like I don't know.
So you mean like people that you have a lot in common with, basically?
Yeah, for me. Yeah.
So I have a question, where so I know in high school I can't really speak for college because I keep saying I never really when I didn't stay on campus. So and I was an adult where I was dealing with so much already. But in high school, I know for me there was a lot of peer pressure, right? And I know we're talking about college, but in high school there was a lot of peer pressure as far as like, especially when I got to like the 11th or 12th grade, where now you're 17, 18 and you want to do party, or you want to I know one of the things for me, I had it set in my head that, and I was only like 17, my friends were going to go to like a tattoo party, and I was like, yes, I want to do it because the pressure is real. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I want to be cool too. I want to go out. I want to, experience this. And then my aunt and my uncle who, raised me, who I was living with, they were very like, church. Like, you can't, church. Everything's like church. And it's like, I'm like, I can't even turn. But so it was kind of like, I want to get a tattoo. And then it's like, they would say like, it's like, if you get a tattoo, it's as if like, you're going to go to hell. That's the way they would put it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But I remember the pressure was so real that I went and I was going to get it. But like, it was just like, I couldn't, because I would just feel so guilty because of all the stuff that they put in my head about this tattoo business. So, but I was close to getting it. I was very, very close. And also the pressure of like dating and all different kind of stuff and smoking and a whole bunch of stuff. Like that's one thing though that I always keep my ground with, because I don't like to try stuff because I'm always worried, like, what if it doesn't really do well with my body? Like, what if I go and try something and before you know it, because I always hear like, growing up in Jamaica, like you hear people talking about they smoking pot and all different kind of stuff, and it's like, well, they call it weed at the time, they call it weed. They didn't even say pot, they say weed. And it's like, they'll be like, oh, someone mix it with something and then that person go crazy. So I'm always thinking like, I don't know where you get that from. I don't want to do that because I don't know what's going to happen to me and stuff. But the pressure though, being around, no, we're keeping it real. Being around friends who are doing it and they're like, girl, you don't know what you're missing. And you're just like, kind of want to try because I don't know, but I'm also scared. And so like, how do you guys deal with those kind of pressure in college? This was me in high school. So I know in college, it's probably like even 10 times worse. And also being a Christian, sorry, Malika, but also being a Christian, because I was a, Christian, and it's kind of like, wow, I'm a Christian, but you're Christian, but you're still, that doesn't say, okay, you don't have something on a cross on your body saying, stay away, she's a Christian. Like, don't, like nothing like that.
Yeah. I must admit, sometimes like my friends do like peer pressure me to do things, and sometimes I do it, but I learn from it.
Yeah.
We learn from it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Like freshman year is like a critical year for peer pressure. And so I lived on a hall where it's like, I didn't really get into like the party scene and things like that last year. But it was only because I didn't like the people on my floor, and I just didn't want to hang out with them. However, it's like, I've never really been a person to like care about peer pressure, because I was like, if I'm like, I don't care. But let's say if I do, I just surround myself with people that like respect me on a level where they don't even have to ask. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm at a gathering and they're passing around something that I don't do, I'm just like, if they ask me once, like, hey, Malika, you wanna? I'm like, no, thanks, I'm good. Then it's never a question again. And that's the people that I surround myself with, because it's like, they understand that I don't like that. And so they can respect me to the point where it's like, okay, I don't need to ask her, or I don't, whatever. And it's not like we're not having fun. Like, I'm still having fun with them, but they just understand that that's just not what I do. And they're fine with that. I'm fine with them doing the things they do as well. There's no judgment, but it's just like, what I would say to that is just like, surround yourself. If you don't drink, surround yourself with people that don't drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be people that don't drink, or there's going to be people that don't smoke. And so, or don't engage in the hookup community. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's always going to be people that don't do the things that you don't want to do as well. So if your friends do it and they peer pressure you, then it's honestly a question like, are they my friends? Like, if they're constantly like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, then it's a question like, we're in college. We don't have the time to be doing, you need to do this, you need to do this. I'm going to do what I want to do, because we are growing adults. And if you can't realize that, then you should not be in college. So it's like, don't peer pressure me. And if you do, we're not friends. I'm keeping it a buck with you. We're not friends. So in terms of that, it's always going to be around. It's always going to be around, no matter how you try to hide from it, what school you go to. Even if you go to a Christian school, it's going to be around. So I would just say, like, just find people that respect you, and find people that are down with you not doing the things you do. Because I love playing Uno. I love playing board games. I love, you know what I'm saying? But I also love doing other engagements. So it's like, there's going to be things that you don't like that other people don't like as well. So kind of like what Ashaki said earlier, like, just finding good people and finding your friends that are kind of like you.
Yeah, I like that. You have anything to add, Shaq, or you good? Okay, I like that, because like, even now I'm still with friends from high school, like, till this day. And when I didn't go off straight to college, they did. And they experienced, a lot of things that I didn't experience. But ever so often when they would come home, we would go out and stuff. And one thing that I like, the both of you said it, where you have to find friends who respect you, who knows you, that, okay, like, my friends, like, they know me. They always call me the mother of the group, because I'm more so like, where I'm like, because I feel like I was also a little bit more mature. Not a little, I was a lot more mature, because coming from Jamaica, like, I feel like I've experienced so much more that they didn't experience. So coming here, it wasn't like, oh, I need to do this or go parties and stuff, because in Jamaica, we used to have, like, we are in high school, but we used to have a lot of parties in high school where we used to have, like, famous people come and, like, party, So coming here and, like, oh, parties and stuff, for me, I feel like I already done that. So I didn't really need to do it. drinking and stuff like that, where I would go out and buy beers for like family members and stuff like that, where they would ask me to buy it, and you come back and they're like, oh, you want to sip? And we're sipping, being so young. So for me, drinking was not something I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get to like this. So I could drink. Like for me, it was like, and I didn't like it. It doesn't make me feel good. So it's something that I was like, I'm not into that or whatever. So you just have to find friends who understand you. And so when my friends and I, we used to go out and stuff, and they would order what they order, but I would get like a Shirley Temple. And for them, they're like, they always say, oh, when the waitress comes around and they're like, oh, what are you guys gonna drink? My friends could tell them exactly what I'm gonna drink. Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like you have to surround your friends with people who are okay with you, because some friends are not okay with the fact that you're ordering like a Sprite or
Virgin
whatever, and they're ordering, or Virgin Peanut. That's my thing, So it's like some friends are not okay with that. Like, oh, we're all having shots, and you're sitting there talking about you're sipping on water, like, oh, you're having a glass of water for shot, And some of them is not okay with that. So you have to find your friends who are okay with you drinking water, pretending like you're drinking something harder, and so it's really true. You have to, and not because people drink or smoke or do whatever, that means they can't be, you can't consider them your friends. Because, there's people who are going through a season or a moment or something like that. But you really have to also know who your friends are. Like, are they going to drag you down, or are they going to build you up? So,
right.
Yeah, this was awesome.
That was amazing.
My friends, with my friends, I'm kind of happy they do pressure me to do things, like good things, some things I had never tried before. Like recently, I just went ice skating. I don't do that. And I went skating. The car's dragging me. I'm on a thing. I don't do that. Hiking. I'm Black. We don't do that.
No.
And soon I'm going skiing again. Black. I want to try skiing. So it's the other day my friend is like, yeah, we're going skiing. Like, I know you're not comfortable with it, but you got to try it. And I'm like,
right.
But yeah, I'm doing it. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Get out of your comfort zone, right?
Yeah, that's what my roommate said. I'm like, no, we don't do that.
It's like us.
Yeah, my roommate's so into nature. Let's go for a walk. No. But I'm ready to compromise. She pressures me to do it, so I do it. Yeah. Good thing.
No, that's awesome. That's really good. But the other day, we went to New Hampshire a couple of days ago. And we went we were there, and let me tell you, everyone. I feel like we were like the only Black person there. There's a lot of people, and we were the only Black person there. And not only that, but
we was deep in New Hampshire too.
It was 2.5 hours to get there, so it's deep into New Hampshire.
We wasn't just.
And let me tell you something. Before I got out of the car, I'm looking around, and I'm like, babe, I don't see nobody look like us, But I'm like, whatever, we're gonna do it. Like, we're gonna have fun. But then when I got out the car, we didn't dress for what we went for. Like, everyone had on their snow pants. No, you didn't have on their snow pants.
I don't own snow pants. That don't count.
Their boots. Like, I had on jeans. The boys had on sweatpants, sneakers, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you could tell we don't do these kind of things, because we don't know what we don't even know how to dress for it.
Exactly how I feel. Exactly.
So I get it. But you know what though? Honestly, it's good to surround yourself with it's good to be diverse. It's not good to just stick to, these are my, I love having a lot of people, different culture around, because that's how you learn. And everything is not, you really have to surround yourself. There's good people everywhere. It doesn't matter what race you are. And I really do love hanging out with people from different culture and different race. So, this is awesome. But thank you guys so much for tuning in or coming on to the podcast. On the podcast. We really do appreciate you guys.
Do this again with a different topic too. I got something else to add. So.
Yes, this is awesome. So,
keep it in the back of your head.
Exactly. But don't forget that death and life are in the power of your tongue. So make sure that you speak life.
Period.
Life.
Yes. Have an amazing week. Thank you for coming out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yes. Love y'all. Have a great week.